Welcome to the after, the almost after. But before we enjoy it, let's take a look at the before. When I first got this house, it was a dump. It had all the right parts. It had the right size, it was in the right location, had space for grandma. What it didn't have was anything updated. So we had a lot of work to do. And that's what no one shows you. The messy middle, the in-between, the before and the after, the decisions, the delays, the disappointments, the choices you didn't even know that you had to make. When it comes to decision fatigue, it's a real thing. There are times on a job site where I have to make hundreds of decisions, hundreds. It can fry your brain. And so we want to protect against that so that you get the best kitchen you can. And the order that things need to happen can set you back if you get it wrong. Weeks, months, maybe even a year. I'm going to walk you through what I did and why I did it so that you can see the why behind decisions. Because I think you can't look at my kitchen and say, okay, that's what I want. Nobody has the same tastes. But you can look at my decision-making process and see why you should consider things or what's important to think about before you plan your kitchen. So let's get to it. Let's back up and give you a few details about what this house really had to work with that I haven't fully disclosed because I had to protect the innocent. By the time I had seen this property, I had hundreds of Florida man houses under my belt. And when I found this one, I knew it had all the right bones. What it didn't have was an updated house, a livable kitchen, working bathrooms, any of the things that you'd really expect in a house. So I knew, based on my experience, that anything's possible. It was a great piece of property. It's walking distance to the water, which is a big deal in Florida. It has also got room for grandma when she decides she'd come live with us. But what I did not know was that the rules here are different. The codes, the hurricane requirements, the way that contracting is done as a business is very different in Florida than it is in New York and California, where I'm familiar with working. So that was a learning curve. So make sure that you get familiar with the process. Make sure you have a clear vision of what you want. You have the engineering to back that up, that it's possible, and you have the permission from your local city that you're allowed to do it before you start dreaming about knocking the entire ceiling out. Compromise and prioritize about what's most important to you. Like in this house, my husband desperately wanted the ceilings to be higher. I just couldn't make it work. The only thing that I could do without touching trusses, without breaking our budget, was the solution I came up with in the living room. But trying to make that dream come true cost us time and money, and it just never happened. So know what's possible, be realistic, set your priorities, and make compromises to move the job along. So make sure that you have a viable plan. Know who to call, who to ask questions. Look online, go to your building department, watch YouTube, look at free resources to get information so that you don't start the process blind. Your building department is free to you. You pay taxes to have it there. So go there and ask them questions. You don't have to give them information. You have to ask them questions so that you know what to do next. You know what paperwork to put in, what to leave out, etc. You get my drift. So in your plan, you want to figure out all of the quirks of the house, the problems, your budget restrictions, your needs and wants. When you're figuring out your needs and wants, think about your old kitchen or the kitchen you were in. What was wrong with it? What drove you crazy? What do you want to change? If you're buying a new house, what are you looking for? What do you see that lights you up? And start planning for it. In the old kitchen, it had so many problems. I don't even know where to begin. A weird G-shaped, funny pantry floating off in the side, blind corner cabinets with no storage, old flooring, laminate countertops, a drop-in sink that had crust around it, a garbage disposal that could wake up the dead. It was frightening. The electrical was scary. When we used the plugs, we made sure we were grounded with sneakers. You get my drift. It was a dump. So I had to decide how I want to cook. One of the obstacles I had in this kitchen was this window. So how I solved it, instead of paying the concrete guy more money, was to find a sink that would fit exactly in the opening. So it's a nice Ruvati sink 45 inches, and it's got all kinds of accessories. It's a pain in the neck to clean, but I love it. So you have a ton of choices to make when you're redesigning a kitchen. And the least of them is the cabinets and the countertop. You've got to think about how you move, how you cook, how much stuff you have to store, where you want to store it, how you want to store it, any of the quirks or weirdness of the space, your budgetary restrictions, your contractor's ability to get stuff done, and his level of skill, all of those things have got to factor into your decision making. The door handles, do you want them centered? Do we want them high? Do we want them low? Do we want them sideways? Do you want your handles in the middle of the drawer, the top of the drawer, the 2/3? The decisions are endless. Do you remember PEMDAS, the order of operations? Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Loved math class.
You always go in the order they appear, from left to right, just to make things clear.
That is a very important part of your renovation process. If you don't know the order of operations, that's PEMDAS. What was it? Parentheses, ed, I don't know. This is another one of those no one tells you moments. Ordering appliances, cabinetry, flooring, handles, countertops, tile, all of those things have different lead times. And lead time is the time it takes to get from them to you in your house. And those lead times vary. Cabinets and appliances can be 10 to 12 weeks, 16, 24 weeks. So you need to know your timing so that you can organize this like a fine meal and it all comes out at the same time. So you want to make sure that the cabinets and the appliances, they're the first thing that you decide on, you get that set. Everything else can happen during the process. In fact, countertops, they can't even go in until your cabinets are done. So no pressure there. Worry about tile, worry about something else. Typically, when it comes to the timing, you're gonna have your demo. Then you're gonna see what's inside the walls. Oh my goodness, we have to tear out that pipe. Do you wanna repipe the whole house? Hey, these wires are chewed. Would you like to rewire the entire house? A lot of stuff happens in demo, a lot of surprises. That 10% cushion on your budget can get blown away during demo. After that, they start to put it back together. So you get framing, you get plumbing and electrical, you get inspections, you get insulation and drywall, then you get paint, flooring maybe. If you have LVP, sometimes cabinets go in first. If you have hardwood or tile, they're going in first. So we got cabinets, flooring, appliances would go in then. Then you're going to be looking at your handles, your countertop, faucets. You don't get a faucet till you get a countertop. The hood, still not done, and the backsplash. Those are two things I want you to stick around because I've got some questions at the end I need some help with. And when you're looking at your timing and your scheduling for things, be mindful of the electrical because a lot of fixtures, it feels like we can buy them after everything's done. I got this light long after most of the house was done. However, where it goes has got to be decided before drywall goes up. So for instance, those sconces back there, the height of them, where those wires pull through has got to be determined before they put drywall up. The location of fixtures or fans. So you have to finalize the height of where those wires are going to pull through. Which switches are going to control which lights? What's going to be a three-way so I can turn on the lights here and turn them off when I leave there? All of those things for electrical have to be determined before drywall goes up. There is some wiggle room when it comes to the height of sconces. They can push the wire through and lower it. However, if you want the sconces there, you've got to tell them to pull those wires and make sure they're at the correct height for the sconce that you chose. For instance, in my daughter's bathroom, the height of the escutcheon plate is at 60 inches, which would make sense. That's kind of at eye level. However, the lights in her bathroom point up, so they're too high. They needed to be lowered. You need to determine which lights you're getting because that may affect how high you want to hang them. When you start a renovation project, you usually have a contract. It's got a total on there, tells you the amount. But what nobody tells you about are all the extras. All the things that aren't included. All those handles, knobs, they add up. 10, 20, $5 a piece. If you need 30 of them, it starts to add up. That's why I call them the jewelry. Lighting fixtures, they add up. $1,000 a pendant, you need 3 of them. You need to plan for the extras, for the allowances that your contractor gives you. If they say we're going to give you $2,000 towards recessed lighting, what's that going to get you? What kind of recessed lights? What brand? Is that going to fit with the kind of recessed lights that I would recommend for your kitchen? You have to check your budget because there is no gray. No gray in budgets. It is black, white, and red. While we're on the recessed lights, nobody's going to tell you how to order them. I spend a lot of time in my private consultations walking people through websites how to order lights, trim kits, transformers. Nobody ever tells us how to do this and how to get it right. Make sure that you use the customer service for the brands that you want to use. You call up those lines. You call up the line for cans and fans or wherever you're going to order the supplies from. Cans and fans in particular walked me through my order and took out things that I did not need that the manufacturer had suggested that I order. Use every resource that's out there to help you to get this done. Watch YouTube, read blogs, go to showrooms, talk to contractors, and ask questions. Be a 2-year-old. Why? The most annoying clients get the nicest houses. That's the way it works. Now, if your contractor has specified some recessed lights, you should stay tuned, subscribe, do all of the things because generally they don't get it right. And if they don't get it right, this is your house. You have the right to say, hey, no, I want a different kind of light. Let's take that out of the budget and I will find those lights. And then you're going to watch my videos and I'm going to teach you how to order them. When you do get to choose your own lights, choose better, choose smaller, and choose less. Another thing nobody tells you is when you're in the middle of it, when you are sawdust and spackle mud and garbage everywhere, there's a lot of crying. There's a lot of disappointment. There's a lot of thought of selling this house, and you just got to push through. Now, you may assume this, but nobody actually says it out loud. Nobody posts on Instagram. Nobody talks about the messy middle, the chaos, when you're crying, when you're disappointed, when things arrive broken, when subs show up at the same time and step all over each other, or when they don't show up at all. It sucks. It feels like you will never be able to cook a meal in this space. I'm here to tell you, it will end. Maybe not as soon as you would like. I certainly know that, but it will end. But in this phase, people will lose focus on your home. That is normal, but it's not acceptable. Go to the job site, take pictures, take video. You'll need it anyway to find that pipe in 5 years when it bursts. So be diligent, stay on top of things. Future you is counting on you for this. When you get tired and frustrated, that's when bad decisions get made. Do not do this. Step back. It's okay to say, hey, I need a minute. I need a week to shop for those lights. The timeline, the urgency is their urgency, not yours. Now, we don't want to make a contractor disappear and go away because you weren't ready, but you want to make thoughtful decisions because you're going to have to live with it for years. It's expensive, and this whole process is not pleasant. So you want to make sure that you get it right. If you feel like you're being rushed, it's your house. You've got to remember that. You're in charge. You hold the checkbook. Slow down. I need a minute. There's a story that most high schoolers used to have to read called Albert's Bridge. I don't know if you've read it, but the story of a philosopher who goes to work painting a bridge, starts on one end, gets to the other end, realizes he has to go back and start all over 10 years later. That's kind of like what a kitchen remodel is. Now we're done, but we're not quite done. There's a few things that haven't been finished, details that have to get resolved, touch-ups, a hood that needs painting, a backsplash that needs choosing. So nobody tells you that it's not like on HGTV. You don't come in, drop your stuff, and everything's done. We have no pictures on the walls. We've got mirrors stacked up. I've got boxes still in the shed, in the garage. It doesn't happen overnight. The finish line is not a line. It's not a block. It's not a city. It goes on and on like Albert's Bridge. And then you start the repairs. Like I said, you're never done. And this is my never done. The hood needs to be finished. Originally, I was going to paint it white, and I still may, depending on what I choose for a backsplash. And that's my dilemma. I can't paint this till I decide that. And I can't figure out where to end the backsplash tile because I've got such a strange arrangement with this window over here and then the counter extending there. So let's take a look, see if you can help me out here. So you can see I've got this wall here that's got to get tiled. And I was thinking of just doing this entire wall. This corner here is the problem. So let's back it up. So you see how it, and then it wraps here and we have the window. And then the countertop continues past my gorgeous new, love this little thing. So where does it end? Now this, it could end right here. I could bring the backsplash tile and run it all the way along, all the way around and up there. Not a fan of that, and I'll tell you why. Because of these two spaces around the window here, and then I'd have tile coming out here onto that side wall. Which is why I'm thinking maybe I'll only tile just that wall and just have a short thing here. Don't know. Put it in the comments. Let me know if you have any ideas because I am stuck. And once that's done and we pick a color, then we can decide what to paint that beautiful hood. This kitchen is fairly new to me, so I don't have a lot of regrets yet. I regret I didn't order that pantry cabinet, but I'm going to find something special. But the regrets will come. I will notice things that I should have done, stuff I missed, things that I shouldn't have ordered, lights that would have been better or worse. You will regret something. You will miss something. You will see something that you like better than what you got. Save it for the next renovation. All right, so your big takeaways. Be a Boy Scout. Be prepared. 7 P's, Sister Karen. Proper pre-planning prevents piss-poor performance. Know what you want. Know how long it takes to get to you, how much it costs. If you don't know, be a 2-year-old and ask why? It's your house. Get answers. Make decisions and follow through. Future you is counting on you. Thanks so much for watching. See you next time.